You might already know this, but if you didn't, it is official. The House unanimously approved the bill to ban TikTok here in the United States. So if you're a US-based content creator or a business owner, I'm pretty sure this is devastating news to you. I'm not sure if it's gonna actually happen, but there is a big chance. And I understand how this can be a very emotional and confusing time for a lot of you because we work really hard to, gain our audience over such a long period of time. And if anything happens to TikTok and we no longer have access to TikTok, we're gonna lose that audience we work really hard for. And there's a lot of creators and businesses that's relying on TikTok to financially support their families. So it is a very scary thought of us not having access to TikTok. The sad reality is we don't control any of these platforms, so things like this might happen in the future. So as a creator or a business owner, how do you protect yourself and safeguard your personal brand? So tip number 1 is never ever be channel dependent. Let me explain. You need to diversify your risk by distributing your content across multiple platforms, so that you're not dependent on one platform for traffic. So for an example, if you're a creator and you only have an audience on TikTok, you need to make sure that you have a backup of all your content, and then you also distribute some of the content. I know it's hard to distribute and repurpose every single piece of TikTok to other platforms, but at least the ones that you can repurpose, you should be repurposing it. This is my exact content creation workflow. If you want a more in-depth tutorial, please let me know in the comments. I'll be more than happy to create one for you. But step number 1 is you want to make sure that every time you post a TikTok video, you have a copy of it as a backup on either your Google Drive or your computer without any kind of branding on it, so that you can easily repurpose this content to other platforms. You can do this manually every single time you post on TikTok by using a platform called Snaptik, which is free to use. So all you have to do is once you post your TikTok video, you go to Snaptik and then you get it without the TikTok branding on it. So that way you can easily repurpose that to other platforms. What I personally use is something called repurpose.io. So it's already connected to my TikTok account. So every time I post a TikTok video, it automatically removes the watermark and then dumps that into my Google Drive. So this helps me eliminate repetitive tasks. I don't have to worry about it. I just have to post on TikTok and everything else is done automatically in the back end. Next, I connect my Google Drive to Notion. So Notion is what I use for my content hub, my content planning. Everything is living inside of Notion. So what I've done is I've connected my Google Drive to my Notion database. And I'll show you if you would like to see what that looks like through a software called Zapier. So what Zapier does is every time my TikTok goes to my Google Drive, it automatically grabs it from my Google Drive and then it drops it over to my database inside of Notion. So all of that happens, automatically, instantly. I don't have to worry about it, and I have a backup of it living in 2 places. Next, I use a social media scheduler. I personally use Metricool to automatically schedule out and auto post on all other social media platforms. So every time I post a TikTok video, I repurpose that content to 8 other platforms so that I can not only grow my TikTok, but also distribute my content so I am more diversified and not channel dependent. So if you're only posting on TikTok and you do not have an audience outside of TikTok, make sure to start doing that today. If you already have a ton of TikToks, I highly recommend you having a backup of it on your Google Drive or on your computer without any branding on it, so that you can just use a social media scheduler to automatically post that content across other platforms without you having to manually post them. This is what my Notion looks like, and I use this to organize myself when I'm creating content on TikTok. So I do have a section that I linked all my channel analytics, and also I do heavily edit all my videos inside of CapCut. So I do have a section for CapCut. I have a weekly to-do list all here, and also this is my content ideation bucket. This is where I kind of brain dump ideas on what I want to do, and I have them in different stages from in queue, scripting, filming, editing, and then if it's going to be already posted or scheduled. And then I do have my content calendar. So I do have one created specifically for TikTok so I can check and see what content that I'm creating and posting. And then the beauty about Notion is that this is a Notion database. When you have a Notion databases, you can link them to other software. So let me explain that in a little bit more detail. I use a software called repurpose.io. So what it basically does is every time I post a TikTok video, it automatically removes the watermark and it drops that into my Google Drive. This is my Google Drive with all the videos that I got from repurpose.io. So you can see that all my TikToks have an automatic backup by doing this. Next, I connect my Google Drive to my Notion database using a software called Zapier, and this is free to use. Zapier automatically puts that video from Google Drive over to my Notion database. Then I bring all that content into my social media scheduler. I use Metrical, and this is what mine looks like. And I use this to automatically schedule out all my content across platforms. So you can see, for an example, this one is to this platform. So I can automatically schedule this one out so that it posts without me having to manually do anything. And the beauty about Metrical is that I can also automatically schedule Reels across all of these platforms. That's my exact process, and it really helps me stay organized. Tip number 2 is having an email list. I cannot stress how important this is, especially if you're a business owner, because that is the only way that you can still contact and stay in touch with your audience. So make sure you have some kind of lead magnet in your content that you have as a call to action at the end of your videos so that you can give your audience something of value in exchange for their email. If you're brand new to email marketing, I do have a pin video on my TikTok that talks about it step by step on how to build your email list using social media. So make sure to check that out. And my last and final tip for you is not be discouraged by what's going on in the outside world. Just focus on creating content, still show up for your audience here on TikTok, and enjoy the journey. I know this is a very serious issue and we don't know what's going to happen in the future. My advice for you is keep on creating, have a good repurposing strategy, and then make sure you have a backup of your content. I hope this was helpful. I know it was a bit of a long video, much longer than my usual videos, but I want to make sure I covered everything in this so that you have a good baseline to get started. If you have any other questions, please let me know what those are in the comments so I can make more videos like this. And if you're not already following me, make sure to hit that plus sign so you can see more content just like this one. I'll see you in the next video.